Gautam Adani, an Indian man born in the mercantile city of Ahmedabad, became number 2 on Forbes' list of billionaires, surpassing Louis Vuitton's Bernard Arnault for a brief while on Friday. The Adani Group of firms' overall market capitalization on Bombay Stock Exchange was at over Rs 22 lakh crore, making it the most valued conglomerate in India, overtaking Tata on 19 September. Op-ed writers are calling this the meteoric rise of Gautam Adani, and rightly so, as the net worth of this first-generation entrepreneur in February 2022 was 9.1 billion US dollars, which according to recent numbers has become 154 billion US dollars. In 2022 alone, Gautam Adani added 65 billion US dollars to his net worth. Yes, billion with a B. In rupees, that translates as this much. Adani gets a seat with world's most elite billionaires even after coming from a country that is host to the highest number of poor people on this planet. So as Indians, shall we celebrate this or be sad about it? While some business journalists and economists may categorize this rise as crony capitalism, Adani in its defense would call it an industry-beating expansion plan. Of the 7 Adani Group public companies, Adani Power Limited's share price rose 293% within a year, followed by Adani Wilmar Limited's by 214%. Gautam Adani and family owns stakes in 6 publicly traded companies that operate in ports, airports, green energy, data centers and more. They have been constantly investing in unrelated businesses and acquiring a range of companies from various sectors. While infrastructure has always been at the core of Adani's expansion, they also acquired a 63.11% stake in Ambuja Cement and a 54.53% stake in ACC, making it the second largest cement manufacturer in India. Also, the NDTV takeover by Adani was a much talked about affair. Many eminent journalists believe that Adani's rise has been a case of crony capitalism. So what is crony capitalism? The Cambridge Dictionary defines crony capitalism as an economic system in which family members and friends of government officials and business leaders are given unfair advantages in the form of jobs, loans, etc. Since Narendra Modi won the 2014 general election, opposition politicians and sections of the media have either claimed or suggested that Adani has received favors from the Modi government in return for his generous donations during the election campaigns. Here's a picture of the current Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi using an Adani airplane while campaigning for the 2014 election. The Modi-Adani relationship became a talking point once again when there were allegations leveled that the Adani Group was awarded a wind energy project in Sri Lanka because Modi put Gotabaya, the Sri Lankan president, under pressure. The Wire and some other organizations reported on the favors extended by the Modi government to Adani Enterprise Limited. One story alleges that the government had modified its rules regulating special economic zones to suit the Adani Group. In another story, it was found that Adani Group was evading taxes which amounted to almost 1,000 crore rupees. So the story was that a set of firms in the Adani Group apparently misused various export incentive schemes through a complex web of front companies located in different parts of the world. These shell companies, which indulge in high-velocity circular trading among related corporate entities, were also used to launder money as claimed by Directorate of Revenue Intelligence. All the corporate entities were directly or indirectly controlled by Adani Enterprises Limited, a flagship firm of the Adani Group which was called Adani Exports before 2007. Coming back to the story of Adani's meteoric rise, let us remind the viewers that Adani Group's total wealth in 2014 was 39,525 crore rupees, which rose to become 9.5 lakh crore rupees in 2022. An interesting detail about these numbers is that when India's and the world's GDP started to fall after COVID-19 struck the world, Adani Group began its rise, from a net value of 2.49 lakh crore in 2020 to 9.5 lakh in 2022. Basically, if you look at this on a graph, then from 2020 to 2022, India's GDP has been inversely proportional to Adani's wealth. The talks and op-eds about Adani Group's expansion came to a halt after credit sites published a report stating that Adani's overly ambitious debt-funded growth plans eventually will spiral into a massive debt trap and possibly culminate in a distressed situation in one or more group companies. Simply put, Gautam Adani, the world's second richest man and Asia's richest man, is also India's most indebted person and a willful defaulter. Having said that, Adani companies continue to enjoy a diverse source of financing, including financing from foreign banks. In a way, Adani have become too big to fail, which is also another characteristic of cronyism, where corporations become too big for the state to let it go down in a financial crisis. Many US financial corporations like Freddie Mac, Citibank, AIG Insurance, JP Morgan, and large auto companies like General Motors were bailed out by taxpayers during the 2008 global financial meltdown precisely for this reason. They were too big to be allowed to fail. There are a few Indian corporations which have reached that scale. Adani has entered that league. The majority of the group's growth is financed by debt capital market borrowing, internal accruals, and bank loans. According to figures released by Bloomberg, the Gujarat-based business has the second highest debt-to-equity ratio, which is a whopping 2021%. The debt-to-equity ratio measures your company's total debt relative to the amount originally invested by the owners and the earnings that have been retained over time. The most leveraged company in the conglomerate's empire is Adani Green Energy, which itself is relying on borrowings and debts to support the company's overall $70 billion shift towards sustainable energy. The expansion of the ports business, investment in green energy, the acquisition of transmission business, and venturing into new areas such as airports, roads, and data centers have led to a rise in gross debt from around rupees 1 lakh crore in financial year 2016 to 2.2 lakh crore in financial year 2022. That's a growth of almost 12% each year over the period. In terms of currency, approximately 30% of overall debt is denominated in foreign currency. Moreover, as the absolute levels of Indian bank loans to Adani have remained stable over the past 5 years, their share of the group's total debt has come off significantly to just about 18%. The Gautam Adani-led group has seen its debt levels increase over the past 5 years from rupees 1 trillion to rupees 2.2 trillion. The Adani Group, however, refuted the claims, saying that the business model adopted by the group operates on a simple yet robust and repeatable business model focused on development and origination, operations and management, and capital management plan. It says that the loans have been used to finance new projects and acquisitions.